I saw this pop up this morning on my Instagram, this one in the middle here that says, remind yourself that even if everyone else around you works long hours, that it doesn't make it normal. And I have to agree and disagree on this one. You know, a lot of my issues when I see stuff come out of these type of publications is I feel like a lot of people writing the content or their point of view comes from living in this bubble where they don't understand how the other 90% of America has to live and work. And they either have already attained a certain level of wealth and success, or they come from academia where, to be honest, things are kind of cozy compared to where I grew up. And my father's working in a steel factory. There's a huge disconnection between what most Americans have to do to get by and what the top 10%, top 20% are doing. Now, if I take this quote right here and I send it to the 5 most successful people I know, they'll all laugh. And if I send it to the next 5 people I know that are very, very successful as well, they're going to laugh. Everyone I know that has come to this country to build a business, to build a career, to build a better life for their family, they would also laugh at this. I know people that came here first generation that are now executives in corporations that have gone on to own 10, 15, 20 plus, restaurants, and the thought of not working long hours to them and providing for their families, that's why they came here. They wanted something more. They wanted a better life. That doesn't mean you have to do that. I think we also get in this bubble that if everyone's not hustling and grinding, then you're a terrible person. No, I don't. I always said one day when I had kids that if they wanted to grow up and be starving artists, as long as they're happy, then I'm happy for them. I live that hustle life. I'm an entrepreneur. I've started multiple companies, went on to be, fairly successful. That's the life I choose to live. But I don't think everyone has to live that life. The real disconnect comes, I hate this kind of content because, hate's a strong word, I use it too much. I dislike this content because everything in the media right now is telling you to work less, don't work as hard. And then the issue is when you stop having the success you want and or need to provide for yourself, for your family, for retirement, when you come up short, they're not going to be on the hook for these insights. That I have a fundamental issue with, because everywhere you go, this is getting crammed down your throat to do less. Again, I don't know where people started thinking that doing less was going to end up getting you more in the end. It usually doesn't work that way. And it's all this kind of bad advice and insights coming out on social media, LinkedIn, through academia, that pushes this narrative of do less, do less, do less, do less. And then it's all of a sudden, your career is not where you want to be. Your ambitions start to fade. You're not paying your debt off or your school loans as fast as you wanted to. You're not saving for retirement. These people are not going to pay for your retirement when you get to 62 and you're 40% short on the amount of money you need. That's what bugs me. And when we're helping people build careers, we're trying to help them find success. We want them to be successful. We want them to be happy. Trying to map out a plan, because we have to get all the way through life. You might work 40 years by the time you graduate college, assuming you even graduate college. From 22 to 62, if you retire early, 40 years. You might end up working till 65 or 67 with the way the world's going, or you may never retire. How do you map out a successful career plan over 40 years? That is what we do, and that's how we think. That's how I built my life. I realize that this is a marathon. This is one of those ultra marathon races. This is not a sprint. 40 years you have to work unless you're lucky enough to be independently wealthy. So when I see this stuff saying, working long hours, isn't normal. Listen, there is no normal. There is no normal when it comes to getting your bills paid. There is no normal when it comes to putting food in your mouth and feeding your family. There is no normal when you need to work extra hard to pay off your debt, to save for retirement. I say this often because my father came from that life. He didn't have any money. I take care of my father. If he didn't have me, he'd be living off a Social Security check, and it would be a very ugly life. It's a sad way to spend the last 30 of your life. And he's got a lot of friends that way that were broke at 62. A lot of them kind of probably wish they worked a little harder and just did what they had to do. But we keep pushing this narrative of do less and do less and do less. Look, if success knows no bounds, success doesn't have a time clock. If you can get it done in 30 hours, get it done in 30 hours. But if you got to work 50 or 60, then you got to work 50 or 60. You do what you have to do. And again, if I look at the 5 or 10 most successful people, they don't ever think about hours. They say this task needs to get done by this time frame, and that's it. These are, people I know that are lawyers. When they have a case coming up, they can't show up to a case unprepared. Sometimes they're up all night making sure everything's ready. If you're in the technology world and you've ever launched an ERP system or a new product or a new service at like midnight, you might be working at midnight down to the deadline to get this thing out. And then next week, once things calm down, then you work a little bit less. But you do what you have to do to reach the goals that you want to reach. But we keep saying, do less, do less, do less. And then people are acting surprised that their careers are coming up short. And it's funny and sad at the same time because we want to keep getting our advice from people that kind of live in a bubble. Or if you look at the amount of content that's written on the internet, on social media, often by influencers, that is by people that are only a handful of years out of college, that have never managed anybody, that have never ran a business, that's never signed the front of a check for somebody else, often people that were never responsible for anyone else other than themselves, they're trying to give you advice on how to build a successful career. And it's just one of those things that I don't say work long hours or work long hours. I think it's dumb to sit in a chair for an extra 20 hours and keep it warm just to try to prove to management that you're a hard worker. If you can get everything done in 40 hours, get it done in 40 hours and go home. But if you can get 40 hours of work done and then you want to hang around another 10 hours and get even more done, I like that. The problem is we don't do that. We take 30 hours worth of work and we want to stretch it over 50 or 60 and then say we worked 50 or 60 hours. And I think that's a complete waste of time. I know people, look, as someone that's built multiple successful companies, one of those that's, valued into the mid, 8 figures, I know what it takes to get off the ground. And yeah, it's not 40 hours a week. I've been there, done that, and I've started other companies that are successful. It takes a lot of work. And that's what I wanted to do. It may not be what you want to do. But again, you keep digesting this content. You see it on TV. You see it in the news. You see it on these websites. You see it on social media. And then like your professors are telling you this. And then you get out in the workforce and you kind of fall flat on your face. And I don't think every employer is looking for you to work 60 hours. Can you work 45 and not interrupt your life? Yeah, I think that's possible. But it's one of those things that you keep getting told work-life balance and work-life balance and work-life balance. And yeah, I think most people agree with that. But this thought of, hey, I want to work 30 hours a week and make $125,000 a year, even though I'm not really good at anything, if you haven't noticed, it's not working so well. And lastly, something I wanted to point out that I think these articles in general kind of miss out is I own a handful of recruiting companies as well. I see how difficult it is for people that in their 50s, late 40s, 50s, and 60s. It's very difficult to move jobs or even get a job because everyone's so focused on the younger generations coming up. So if you don't build a career in your 20s and get moving and start saving money, do you think you're going to do that in your late 40s, 50s, and 60s? Some people will and some won't. I never thought of, I want to get to 50 and try, like, I'm going to launch a career now. Yeah, good luck. Your 20s is when you have energy, you have your health, life is less complicated. That's the time to go do 50 hours. The other thing is, if I was working, when I was in the tech world, if I was doing 60 hours, that means I was, versus someone working 40 hours, I was getting 50% more experience than they were. And I was out there landing consulting gigs that 40-year-olds were doing, and I was doing that at 20. No one thinks about this stuff. The 20s is when I had so much energy. I could go party all night and still be to work at 5:30. It's a little bit tougher when you get older, but it's that thought of, you use your 20s when you have this energy, you got this freedom. You're not tied down by having a partner, or having kids, you're taking care of your parents because they're getting older. Your 20s is when you go. When you do as much as you can. You get as much experience as you can. You build that resume up. You build a reputation up. And then at your 30s, you don't want to be working 65 hours in your 40s. If you do the work early on, you can get yourself in a better position. So it's just one of those things that right now we kind of want to waste our 20s, start getting our act together at, 30, and then we think that we're going to save enough money to, like, pay off all of our school loans, buy a house, have a family, and save for retirement between 30 and then like 48 or 50 before it starts getting tougher to get a job. So instead of making the most out of a 40-year career, you're going to try to do it all in 20. Doesn't work that way. Go talk to a financial planner. They got stories for you all day long where this theory went wrong. So anyways, don't have anyone convince you not to work hard. If you want to work hard, work hard. Don't keep a chair warm for 60 hours a week. If you're not doing something productive, go home. If you want to work 45, 50 hours and do productive work, do what you got to do to reach your goals. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. You know what you need to do to reach high goals. Anyways, that's all we got for this one. Again, you're not coming here because you want to hear the things that everyone else wants to hear. Everyone wants to hear work less. And then, that's not what we're going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you to work 60 hours a week either. It's just that you need to do what's best for you to reach your goals. And don't let anybody stand in your way. But that's all we got for this one. We will catch you on the next one.